If there was one highlight from the 2024 State of the Union address, it's that Joseph Robinette Biden made his final State of the Union address to America last night. Unfortunately, he told Americans virtually nothing about the state of our union, choosing instead to give a cringeworthy campaign speech. Dark Brandon transformed into Old Yeller as he sought in vain to look tough and in charge. The twisted live-stream propaganda hour looked more like an effort to keep the DNC from holding a brokered convention to push aside the doddering old fool this summer, rather than a State of the Nation address. For their part, the Democrats in Congress were themselves cringeworthy fanboys, looking for selfies, planting kisses on the fossil, and constantly clapping, regardless of how stupid they looked for all the world to see. The painfully and intentionally snail pace of entering the room, acting as if he's someone of note, a person who has accomplished something, when he's not even remotely like that. The shameful partisan cheerleading for unquestionably the worst president in history is shocking and distasteful.
Good evening.
Clapping in unison like trained seals.
Good evening. If I were smart, I'd go home now.
Probably the smartest and least unhinged thing he could have said all evening. Should have taken his own advice.
1941, Franklin Roosevelt came to this chamber to speak to the nation.
And he invokes King Franklin Roosevelt, a great wonder for the Democrats. Then he invokes President Abraham Lincoln in a desperate attempt to equate the destruction, misery, and collapse that he has ushered into America with the success of Roosevelt and Lincoln.
Not since President Lincoln and the Civil War have freedom and democracy been under assault at home as they are today.
Freedom and democracy under threat abroad and at home? Indeed, it is, by Biden, his corrupt Department of Justice, FBI, and rogue administration constantly undermining democracy, misuse of the courts, censorship of speech, attacking political opponents, his willful evasion of the Constitution and the Supreme Court. Democracy is under assault from within by the Democratic establishment.
What makes our moment rare is that freedom and democracy are under attack both at home and overseas.
Indeed.
I say this to Congress, we have to stand up to Putin. Send me a bipartisan national security bill.
You had your chance in the summer of 2021 when you ignored 70,000 Russian troops that Putin moved to the Ukraine border. You did nothing. Then you fled from Afghanistan, sending your pal Vlad a very clear signal that the U.S. will offer no deterrence to Russian aggression. It's too late now to talk tough, Joe. The damage is done, and you have no credibility anywhere on the global stage.
History is literally watching. History is watching. If the United States walks away, it will put Ukraine at risk. Europe is at risk. The free world will be at risk, emboldening others to do what they wish to do us harm.
History is watching? Seriously? Emboldened to do what they want to do? That sounds like every moment of this failed presidency. Myanmar, Cabo Delgado, Niger, Mali, Nigeria, Burkina Faso, Sudan, Ukraine, Hamas, the Houthis, Iran, North Korea, Myanmar. I already said that one. China, all emboldened and on the march under Joe Biden.
My message to President Putin, who I've known for a long time, is simple. We will not walk away.
President Putin, whom I've known for a long time, we will not walk away. Like you did in Afghanistan, Joe? Just turn tail and fled?
When insurrectionists stormed this very Capitol and placed a dagger to the throat of American democracy.
Insurrectionist? Still spreading that canard. A dagger at the throat of American democracy? Folks, the Brits burned the White House during the War of 1812. America did not fall. Japan crippled our battleships at Pearl Harbor. America did not fall. Broken windows, doors opened by the police, fools milling about, a dagger. Even for Joe, that's a bit too much hyperbole.
It's not hyperbole to suggest history is watching.
History is watching. An inept fool who has pushed America to the brink of collapse lies to the world in a campaign stump speech. Apparently, this guy takes his cues from Cyril Ramaphosa, Mr. Pala Pala from South Africa.
When America gets knocked down, we get back up. We keep going. That's America.
Biden's efforts to sound like a powerful leader fell flat time and again. He just comes off sounding like an angry loser trying too hard. Folks, the rest of his hour-long Dark Brandon Old Yeller speech is simply too painful to listen to, especially when Marjorie Taylor Greene calls him out to say Laken Riley's name. Confused Lunch Pail Joe holds up a coin with her name on it and proceeds to call her Lincoln Riley. As I said, it's too painful to absorb. Joe foolishly strayed from his idiot prompter. Laken Riley's mother slammed him on Friday for saying her daughter's name incorrectly during his State of the Union speech. He was referring to the 22-year-old Georgia nursing student who was bashed and mangled, allegedly killed by a criminal alien invader from Venezuela, when he said, Lincoln Riley, an innocent young woman who was killed by an illegal. That's right. But how many thousands of people are being killed by legals? It's not even germane. Legals are allowed to be here. You have to do something to correct the behavior of society. Criminal alien invaders have no business being here, and you facilitated his arrival and his ushering in and welcome here, and therefore you're responsible.
That's America.
What? Jeez. Enough of this decrepit buzzard who has accomplished virtually nothing in his 80-plus years. Folks, this was beyond painful to watch. It was like watching Cyril Ramaphosa all over again, except the level of lies was even worse than even Cyril Ramaphosa. Now that's quite an accomplishment. Man, these leftists have got to go. The harm they've inflicted on people, the damage they've done around the world, the chaos they've strewn, the wars they've started, and they always accuse the other side of being exactly what they are. Ooh, Donald Trump will lead us to war. He destroyed ISIS in a matter of weeks, got us out of that, got us out of Iraq, ended the war in Afghanistan, got North Korea to behave themselves, boxed China in, whereas Joe has watched the world go up in flames on his watch. Why? Because America has no credible deterrence. We're busy changing our pronouns on our email in the Department of Defense and dressing up in different uniforms, pretending to be something else. Yeah, there you have it, folks. No deterrence whatsoever from the American military or from the American diplomatic establishment. Joe, the worst president in the history of the United States. Hands down, it's a singular accomplishment in 80 years. Just shake my head. That's about all I can do. Cheers, folks.